I've been walking through the storm with no map to guide me home, but the sun's breaking through the sky. Yeah, lying where he rests await, ready lay. Stricken like I'll be a sunbear. A day like this, I've been walking through the storm with no map to guide me home, but the sun's breaking through the sky. Yeah, and there's a warmth I can't deny. Every shadow seems to fall away as we dance in the light of the day. And I never thought this day would come, but here we are, we're not undone. I'll hold you close and you'll hold me tight. We'll turn the dark into the light. Oh, a day like this, we found our place in a world that spins with endless grace. I'll remember every step we take when the whole world feels like it's at stake. We've made it through, now here we are. On a day like this, we've come so far. Through the highs and through the lows, we've learned that love will always grow. It's not about the time or space, yes. It's in the quiet, in the embrace. We'll walk through every open door, knowing what we've waited for. And I never thought this day would come, but here we are, we're not undone. I'll hold you close and you'll hold me tight. We'll turn the dark into the light. Oh, a day like this, we found our place in the world that spins with endless grace. I'll remember every step we take when the whole world feels like it's at stake. We've made it through, now here we are. On a day like this, we've come so far. And if the sky falls down tomorrow, we'll hold on through the sorrow. 'Cause we know today is ours to keep. In the wake of dreams, we'll never leave. Oh, a day like this, we found our place in the world that spins with endless grace. I'll remember every step we take when the whole world feels like it's at stake. We made it through, now here we are. On a day like this, we've come so far. On a day like this, we've come so far. On a day like this, we've come so far.
Remember, we fight for what's right because it's time to go right.
Time to go right. Time to go right. Time to go right.
This isn't just politics, this is a way of life. It's about truth, it's about honor, it's about we the people. It's time to go right. But stand up, take a stand for the truth, for the fight, for the heart of this land. We don't back down, we don't give in. We vote for the people, not the power within. Go right, stand for the truth, stand for the light. Go right, lead with honor, defend what's right. It's a movement, it's a mission, it's a call to unite. So rise up, step up, go right. We do right, integrity strong. We think right, logic leads on. We live right, with honor and pride. We vote right, we the people decide. Go right, stand for the truth, stand for the light. Go right, lead with honor, defend what's right. It's a movement, it's a mission, it's a call to unite. So rise up, step up, go right. Go right. Go right. Not tearing down. Go right. Standing tall on solid ground. Go right. Future bright, future strong. Go right. Go right and bring it on. Go right, stand for the truth, stand for the light. Go right, lead with honor, defend what's right. One voice, one fight, one nation, one might. We the people. Go right, this is Go Right with Peter Boykin, where truth has a voice.
Hey folks, and welcome to hashtag Go Right with Peter Boykin. So we're going to talk about two articles today, and let's show me. I'm around here somewhere. My camera's not wanting to activate today. Okay, so let's talk about. There we go. All right, so this is hashtag Peter Boykin. Go Right with Peter Boykin, and we're going to talk about two articles today. And the first article is this one: "The Battle for Our Children's Future: A Constitutionalist Cry for Liberty." And the second article is "Constitutional Crisis Looms as Our Republic Faces Shutdown Chaos." So let's start with the first article, which is not that one. Let's see here. So we got to pull that article up. Come to the scuffed screen. I'm still learning how to do all these clicks and everything to try to make it look good for you. All right, so back up to. There we go. All right, a battle for our children's future. There's a lot of questions about the getting rid of the Department of education, and there's been always a debate about it, and I decided that this would be a good information to go over and put into an article form. And you can go on gorightnews.com to find out this and more, to read more stories and keep things going. It blew up. Come on, get it in the right size. There we go. So just a reminder, folks, that the mission of Go Right, it's not just like Go Right as politics. It's a whole thing. The hashtag Go Right is more than politics, it's a way of life. Go Right isn't just about politics, folks. It's about doing what's right in every aspect of life. It's about making choices that uplift and strengthen and unite our communities. It means doing right, standing for truth, integrity, and accountability. Thinking right, using logic, common sense, and fairness in decision making. And being right, living with honor, respect, and responsibility. It's also about zooming this screen up. And voting right, electing leaders who put we, the people, first. Hashtag Go Right is a direction, a call to action to all those who believe in building, not destroying. It's about working towards a better future together. And so again, you can find this article and more on gorightnews.com. Let's get to the meat and butter of this article. The battle for children's future, a constitutional cry for liberty. Picture this, a small town schoolhouse, the kind our grandparents might have attended, where a dedicated teacher stands at the front, chalk in hand, shaping young minds with lessons rooted in local values and common sense. Parents and neighbors sit on the school board deciding what's best for their kids, not some faceless bureaucrat in Washington, D.C. That's the America I grew up believing in. A constitutional republic where power rests with the people and their states, not a sprawling federal machine. But now we're at the crossroads, and the Department of Education is at the heart of the fight. Welcome to hashtag Go Right with Peter Boykin, where we're diving into the headlines, shaking up our nation's classrooms, and asking the tough questions about liberty, control, and the future of our kids. Folks, we're living in a time when the soul of our constitutional republic is under siege. And nowhere is that clearer than in the debate over the Department of Education. As a constitutionalist for liberty with a moderate to conservative Republican slant, I'm here to break down the headlines, lay out the facts, and give you the unvarnished truth about what's at stake. This isn't just about policy, it's about who gets to shape the next generation of Americans. Let's dig in. Now let's start with some headlines, folks. Massie moves to abolish the Department of Education. Representative Thomas Massie has thrown down the gauntlet with H.R. 899, a bill aimed at dismantling the Department of Education by 2026. This isn't a tweak or a reform. It's a full-on demolition designed to rip out federal oversight of our schools and hand the reins back to states and local communities. Massie's plan would smash billions in spending and cut through what he calls a choking bureaucracy, sparking a firestorm of debate about whether Washington has any business meddling in our classrooms. This is a clarion call for liberty, a bold move to shred the federal tentacles strangling our schools and return the power to the people where it belongs, the people. The next one is the Department of Education's final mission under McMahon. Linda McMahon, newly confirmed as Education Secretary, has hit the ground running with a bold vision: shrink the federal footprint and restore state oversight. In a statement that's got patriots cheering and progressives clutching their pearls, oh my pearls, she said the Department of Education's role in this new era of accountability is to restore the rightful role of the state oversight in education and end the overreach from Washington, D.C. Now, she's signaling the end game, dismantling the agency from within, but can she pull it off, or will Congress slam on the brakes? McCann's not here to tinker. She's wielding a sledgehammer to smash what she sees as a bloated relic of big government. So here's a little deeper. Trump's push to decentralize education gains traction. President Donald Trump's campaign promises to gut the Department of Education is no longer just rhetoric. It's a movement. With McMahon, I'm sure I'm pronouncing her name wrong, at the helm and allies like Massie and Congress, the push to decentralize education is picking up steam. The goal, though, shift power to the states where it belongs under our Constitution and free our schools from what conservatives call a bloated, agenda-driven federal overlord. Trump's vision is a battering ram against centralized control, rallying patriots who see Washington as a meddling tyrant in our kids' classroom. We've had this debate, and I play devil's advocate on both sides, folks, and personally, I'm not exactly sure about the dismantling of our Department of Education, but I do see that a massive change needs to happen. But we also have to remember that a lot of the power does actually handle on the states, and if the federal government really is not handling what you think they're handling. So let's go back to what the Department of Education actually does. What does the Department of Education actually do? Well, let's get the facts straight. The U.S. Department of Education, created in 1979 under President Jimmy Carter, isn't the puppet master pulling strings in every classroom. It doesn't hire teachers, set curricula, determine school hours, or maintain discipline. Those powers rest firmly with state departments of education and local school districts, as they should in a constitutional republic. So what does it do? Plenty. Funding. The department oversees billions in federal dollars, like Title I funds and low-income schools, special education grants under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, IDEA, and Pell Grants for college students. It's the pipeline for about 10% of public school funding nationwide, though that number spikes to 20 to 25% in poorer, rural, and urban districts. And civil rights enforcement. And no, this is DEI, folks. Don't get that mixed up. Through its Office of Civil Rights, it investigates discrimination claims, think Title IX battles over gender policies, or ensuring disabled kids get a fair shot. And I know, oh my God, they're talking about the policies, but they try to determine the best policies for our students. Doesn't mean they're saying, hey, we think that students should go and change their genders and do this and do that. But they do try to figure out where people are being discriminated against. And as such, because we are a nation at one time that used to separate our children from color. And we have to have a department like this to make sure we don't fall back down that rabbit hole. Student loans. It manages federal student loan system, including Stafford loans and the free application for federal student aid, FAFSA, touching millions of college hopefuls. Most of us have taken advantage of that. And data and standards. It collects stats and nudges states toward accountability, though it can't dictate what's taught. Federal law forbids it. So overall, it's just kind of an overseer, but doesn't have too much power. It just kind of gives some guidance, as the government should. In short, it's a money mover, a watchdog, and a data hub, not a dictator. But here's where the rubber meets the road. Critics say it's morphed into a tool for federal overreach, while defenders argue it's a lifeline for kids who'd otherwise fall through the cracks. So why keep the Department of Education? Now let's talk about why this agency might deserve to stick around. In a nation as vast as ours, education gaps are real between rich suburbs and struggling cities, between states with fat budgets and those scraping by. The Department of Education levels the playing field, or at least tries to. Title I funds prop up schools in places like Pulaski County, Virginia, where local taxes can't cover the basics. Special education dollars ensure kids with disabilities aren't shoved into the shadows. And Pell Grants give low-income students a shot at college they'd never get otherwise. Now here's an opinion I'll own. Without the federal backstop, we risk a patchwork system where some states soar and others sink, leaving kids' futures to the luck of their zip code. Streamlining education across the board, setting baseline standards, sharing best practices, could get our country back on track. Imagine if the department had more teeth to unify our fractured system, not less. We're a constitutional republic, yes, but that doesn't mean chaos is the answer. On the other side, why shut it down? On the flip side, the case of abolition is rooted in the first principles. The Constitution doesn't mention education, period. That silence means it's a state power under the 10th Amendment. And folks like Massie and Trump argue that Washington's meddling is unconstitutional. They've got a point. The department's budget ballooned during COVID, funding everything from ventilators to virtual classes. And conservatives say it's become a cash cow for progressive pet projects. Think diversity initiatives or student loan forgiveness they call illegal handouts. Though I'm going to add up a personal thing that people don't really like. It's an issue with this discussion with folks. I am one of those people that owe a lot of money to the U.S. government for my college loans. And I know people go, well, if you took the loan, you should pay the loan. Well, most of us can't. Most of us are on some kind of deferment where we don't really pay because we don't make enough income. So the government will never see a dime out of what I make. And then we're in the boat because of the immigration, because of the issue that so many jobs have gone somewhere elsewhere, and because of the disruption of the job market, and because of the greed of companies, and also how hard it is to get a decent job even after you graduate high school or college or whatever. No wonder so many young students or young people are trying to get on TikTok and go, ooh, I want to be TikTok famous. I want to be TikTok famous. Because they realize that maybe that might be their shot to get famous, to get views, to make money early. Because the job market's really not open. I know that people say, oh, there's jobs everywhere. Yeah, McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, stuff you can barely scrape through. You make just enough, but you also make too much so you can't get any help from the government. And so, folks, if we're talking about America first, if you can send so much money overseas, if you can help so many other countries, then as a Republican, wouldn't you think that somehow down the line that we need to figure out some kind of student loan forgiveness or trying to reset the clock? Because people like me, without having a big looming debt, that stuff you could be using towards buying a house, buying more cars, spending money, opening a business, maybe taking your educational degree and going a step further. But because of that looming debt, that causes issues. And now people go, well, I paid my debt. Well, your situation when you grew up is different than now, unfortunately. So I'm a proponent of doing something about our debt, doing a reset. But that also means we have to do a reset and overhaul of the educational system. Now, I'm in a program that I'm not even sure if they're still going, which was a program that went after colleges like University of Phoenix or Purdue, etc., the online colleges that called on and charged me a lot of money per class. But at the end of the day, did they actually teach me all the skills I needed to be able to do the physical job? It was more streamlined, it was more teaching, and it was like, you graduate with a degree, but are they helping you get the job? No, there was no helping you get the job afterwards. It was like, take your money, take your money, take your money. Here's your piece of paper. Good luck. So the government is now going after these companies for price gouging, not performing their full duty of educating us properly, not following up, not trying to help us get a job. That I'm hoping that will reduce a big chunk of my debt by going back to those companies and saying you did wrong and get basically a rebate. So I'm a proponent with that. Now, getting back to the article. McMahon's take, quote, the excessive consolidation of power in Washington was harming education. It resonates with liberty lovers. Local control means parents and communities, not DC elites, decide what's best. And here's an opinion from the right. The department's a bloated mess, with 4,100 employees pushing papers while states and districts do the real work. Cut it, save billions, and let freedom ring. Or so the argument goes. But who really holds this power? Let's clear the fog. The Department of Education has no authority over the nuts and bolts of schooling, even though people want to scapegoat it. They want to blame them. Oh, they're teaching children to do this. They're making you do this, but they're not really doing that. It's the states. The states set the standards. Districts hire teachers. They pick textbooks, and they handle the discipline. That means get involved with your local school board. Get involved with your state school board. The Democrats have always done that. They have been involved with their school boards, with their teaching of their students. And us Republicans need to basically step up and not just go and reacting to books. Oh my God, I can't believe this book has somebody doing something. Oh, there's a gay person in this book. Oh, or everybody freaks out about drag queens reading to children in schools, which I will agree, controversial things like that. Teachers and, schools should not be pushing that without parents' consent. They should know better on the issues. But I also ask, how come that we've got to the point where drag queens want to read to children and nobody else? That's what I always bring up. So, the feds can't even peek inside your kids' classrooms without breaking the law. So why the fuss? Critics say it's not about power, it's about influence. Federal dollars come with strings, nudging states to toe the line on policies like testing or transgender bathroom rules. Now, I agree. People want to get rid of it. They argue that ending it would snap those strings, giving states pure sovereignty. But here's the kicker. Congress, not the department, allocates the cash. Shutting it down might just shift the bureaucracy elsewhere, say to the Treasury, without changing much, which is what some people are telling me. Well, other departments already handle things. I'm like, yeah, but wouldn't you want to centralize it with the department that only handles education? Instead of trying to put it on other departments that's going to be more bogged down on them, you're just bloating other departments to shrink one. It's just kind of hiding things, like playing whack-a-mole. I could say this, which was the confusing part. And I find this confusing on a lot of issues. Especially as a conservative, a Republican, a constitutionalist for liberty. I see that a lot of fellow Republicans, and such, want limited government. They want less government in our lives. They want less government telling us how to rule things. But yet, on the other side, people like, and I love Trump, but people like Trump want to then say, we need to get rid of DEI in schools. Yet, I've always seen nobody really knows what DEI is. It translates to get rid of the gay stuff and get rid of the blacks and etc. And, completely throw out, they don't break down what DEI means. DEI means diversity. They say equity and inclusion. There's nothing wrong with diversity. That's important. There's nothing wrong with inclusion. That's also important. It's the equity part. The equity is trying to say that just because somebody's gay or black or whatever, that they're the same as somebody else, and that you should give everybody the same. Well, you're trying to give everybody the same chance, but you're picking somebody over somebody else who's not as skilled just because that person is gay or black or etc. whatever. That's the equity issue. If that E was changed into equality, it would make more sense. Not equity. Equality under the eyes of basically everybody gets the same opportunity. But a lot of people don't understand what DEI is. It's a definition, kind of like woke. Nobody really understands. It's keywords. It's great little things to blurt out while you're running for office. The Republicans do it. The Democrats call people other things, etc., etc. But at the end of the day, does anybody know how you remove equity, diversity, whatever? And I don't really get the whole removing diversity and equality. I just recently heard that Pete Hegseth or whatever apparently just said, well, search for everything with the code word gay. And next thing you know, they're flagging the Enola gay and people with the last name gay because laziness. Because of just, I don't want to see that word kind of thing. I don't know what the hell's going on, people. All I know is, as a constitutionalist, I understand there's got to be a balance between limited government and government oversight and our government's job. And when it comes to the educational department, even though it might not be in the Constitution like it's stated, it makes sense that the government has to have some role in our governance of our education in general. I would like to see a little bit more streamlined. I would like to see a little bit more of the states getting together in a Congress and trying to decide what works and what doesn't work, with the Department of Education kind of there as just basically the chairman kind of thing, running the meeting. I would like to see more of that. I would like to see change. I don't like how the education system is right now. Most people don't, but they don't have enough education. And that's what this video is supposed to be, to help you learn and make up your mind and have some other opportunity to open the conversation. And this is both for and against. That's what I've talked about in this article. Now let's move on. How is it ruining things? And how would ending it help? The rap sheet against the department is long. Republicans blast it for pushing, quote, critical race theory, a law school concept, not a K through 12 staple, or woke agendas, though evidence of that is thin, more noise than fact. Teachers' unions and parents fear cuts to special ed in Title I would get support for vulnerable kids, a claim backed by Ohio educators who say 10 to 25% of their budgets would vanish. Yet, whatever, that word again, counter that states could pick up the slack, free from federal red tape. Now, my take, that's a gamble. Some states might step up, but others strapped for cash might not. Now, how's that better? I'd love to know. Now, could it make things better or worse? Here's the million-dollar question. Is the department powerless over curriculum and teachers? How does axing it fix anything? Maybe it's symbolic, a middle finger to federal overreach. Maybe it's practical, trimming fat. But if we're honest, education's a mess. Failing test scores, teacher shortages, won't magically heal without a referee. I'd argue, opinion alert, folks, I'd argue that a smarter move, might be reforming the Department of Education, giving it real tools to standardize excellence, not just shuffle money around. Decentralization is noble, but chaos isn't progress. And yeah, folks, conservatives can be for progress. I know that they say Democrats are progressive. Well, progressive was supposed to be a good word. Liberalism, in a way, was supposed to be a good thing. And the Democrats have taken all the good shit. I mean, they really have. And they took all the good thing and kind of left us with the leftovers and make us look like we're the bad guys. But I'm sorry, Republicans tend to run things better. Unfortunately, there's so many of them that are trying to like just shut things down and make busy work and shuffling papers. I'm not really buying it, folks. So here's our hashtag Go Right recap, our remix. So here is the remix. Massie swinging the axe with H.R. 899. McConn's plotting the department's swan song, and Trump's cheering from the sidelines, all to reclaim education for the states. The Department of Education funds, enforces, and tracks, but it doesn't run the show. Keep it, and we might bridge gaps for kids in need. Kill it, and we may roll the dice on liberty versus anarchy. This is our constitutional republic at a fork in the road. Now, do we trust ourselves to govern locally or lean on a federal safety net? I say let's think hard before we torch it, because our kids deserve better than a coin toss. For more on this fight and all things liberty, swing by GoRightNews.com. Catch hashtag GoRight with Peter Boykin on Rumble, Spreaker, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, X, Twitter, Parler, Social, whatever, Truth Social, etc., Instagram, I don't know, whatever. And you want to fuel this mission, and I'm going to try to change this Cash App, but you can drop $1 or $2 at Cash App, $ Peter Boykin, the #1. I spend about $100-some every month, and a lot of time doing these podcasts. So it would be helpful if somebody would be a nice Patreon and help me out. Links are live at GoRightNews.com and PeterBoykin.com. Let's keep the conversation blazing, Patriots, because the future's ours to shape one classroom at a time. Liberty's calling. Answer it at GoRightNews.com, where the fight for our republic never sleeps. The battle for our children's future, constitutionalists' cry for liberty. We'll be right back with our next article. We're going to talk about the constitutionalist crisis, and it looms as our republic faces shutdown chaos. Now, I don't like to usually cover the issues that change a lot. And this obviously is going to change. It's probably changed since I wrote it this morning, or, if you're watching this live, it was this morning I wrote the article. I'm sure some information is probably already changed. And, but we want to it's still important to talk about. I still like to talk about the shutdown because it continues to happen. It continues to dwell. We continue to kick the can down the street. And so it's important to talk about the constitutional crisis as it looms. Our republic faces shutdown chaos. Again, this article is on GoRightNews.com. Constitutional crisis looms as our republic faces shutdown chaos. America teeters on the edge of chaos as our government shutdown looms. Will our leaders step up or let the republic fail? Picture this. It is a crisp evening. And I'm sitting on my porch, or you're sitting on your porch, sipping a strong cup of coffee. I don't really like coffee, but I like a nice sweet tea. Watching the sun dip below the horizon. The air's calm, but my mind is racing. Our constitutional republic is teetering on the edge of yet another government shutdown. I think back to my granddad, a man who fought for this nation, and my dad as well, who'd tell me, Peter, liberty ain't free, and it sure ain't cheap. He'd be spinning, not my dad, but my granddad, he'd be spinning in his grave knowing that Congress, our elected guardians for freedom, might let the gears of governance grind to a halt over petty politics. So welcome to hashtag Go Right with Peter Boykin, where we cut through the noise and stand firm for the principles that built this nation. Let's dive into the headlines shaking our republic to its core. Starting with the constitutional crisis, it looms as our republic faces shutdown chaos. Folks, we're staring down the barrel of a crisis that threatens the very soul of our constitutional republic. The clock is ticking, and if Congress doesn't act by midnight, Friday, March 14th, 2025, it's the final countdown. We're headed for a partial government shutdown that could paralyze our nation. And it seems like this is every freaking couple of months. It's not going away. This isn't just about our budget or bills. It's about whether we honor the Constitution's sacred charge to govern responsibly and let partisan bickering shed the fabric of liberty. As a constitutionalist for liberty, that's what I am, with a moderate to conservative Republican heart. I'm here to break it down, call it like I see it, and rally us to defend the republic we love. We'll go into government operations. Government shutdown 2025. Here's what we know so far. The United States, our constitutional republic, stands on the brink of chaos if Congress fails to pass a funding bill by midnight on Friday, March 14th, 2025. Non-essential government functions will screech to a halt. This isn't a drill, folks. This isn't a drill. It's a deadline rooted in the expiration of current federal funding, a lifeline that keeps our agencies humming. The House of Representatives fired the first salvo, passing a stopgap funding bill, the so-called Continuing Resolution, RCR, by a razor-thin vote of 217 to 213. And I will say, disclaimer, some of the stuff might have had changed today. I haven't picked it up or changed in the article, and I will try to update things as we progress. Now, spearheaded by President Donald Trump and Speaker House Mike Johnson of Louisiana, this bill aims to extend funding through September 30th, 2025, which is still right down around the corner, the end of the fiscal year. But here's the rub. It's now in the Senate's hands, where Republicans claim with a slim 53-seat majority. To clear the 60-vote filibuster hurdle, they'll need at least 8 Democrats to cross the aisle. Now, time's running out, and the stakes couldn't be higher. This bill's a beast. 99 pages of physical wrangling. Actually, 99 pages, considering what we had to pass, is not that much. It holds, drop it into ChatGPT and tell it to ask it questions. It holds most agency fundings at levels, or if you're Republican, drop it into Gronk. It holds most agency fundings at levels set by former President Joe Biden. It slashes $13 billion from non-defense domestic programs. It pumps $6 billion into defense. It freezes $20 billion in IRS cash. And it ensures veterans' health care and benefits stay fully funded, including a hefty 14.5% pay raise for junior enlisted troops. Now, I know a lot of people are complaining because they are returning the size of the VAs back to pre-COVID levels by laying people off and firing people, and people are worried they're going to lose their service. My dad and other people at the VA the other day were kind of griping about it, but, you know, we're returning our levels. Now, locked in by the 2024 National Defense Authorization Act. Now, House Majority Whip Tom Emmer called it a game changer. He said it's not like CR that has ever come before. It's cutting spending. It's freezing spending. It's adding defense money. It takes care of the border. That's a bold claim, and in my opinion, it's a step towards physical sanity, though it's far from perfect. Republicans hail it as Trump triumph, but Democrats are crawling, "Tell ball," saying it's a one-sided power grab lacking bipartisan heart. And believe me, I am for bipartisan heart, because that's the point of having different sides. So we're not all yes men. The players, Mike Johnson's wrangling his GOP herd like a seasoned cattleman, dodging far-right holdouts to get this through. Trump's flexing his muscle, even threatening the primary Representative Thomas Massie of Kentucky, the lone Republican no vote for daring to dissent. Elon Musk, heading the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, is pushing cuts by promising to loop in Congress after some backlash. Senate Democrats, led by Chuck Schumer of New York, are split. Some, like John Fetterman of Pennsylvania and Ron Wyden of Oregon, might balk at a shutdown, while Elizabeth Warren, Miss Pocahontas of Massachusetts, slams it as a shutdown bill stuffed with GOP goodies. Senate Majority Leader John Thune of South Dakota is racing the clock to seal the deal. And Vice President J.D. Vance warned the GOP behind closed doors a shutdown could torch their image with voters who've historically pinned blame on the party in power. And he's right. History's a harsh judge. If this fails, brace yourselves. Put on your seatbelts. Engines racing. Essential services like border protection, air traffic control, law enforcement, power grids, Social Security payments, what they say, and hospital care will chug along, thanks to the Constitution for that clarity. But non-essentials, we'll read that again, folks, because they will say that this, I might have got it wrong till we got to the end. They'll say this. The Democrats will say this. They'll use this against you. And they'll say that essential services like border protection, well, they won't say that, air traffic control, law enforcement, power grids, they'll especially say your Social Security payments are going to come to you. They're especially going to say that your hospital care is not going to come to you. But they do chug along because the Constitution clarifies that certain things have to handle in the government. We have a base that we have to keep doing. But non-essentials, national parks are shuttered, federal workers furloughed without pay, and agencies like the Social Security Administration bogged down with delays. Reuters sounded the alarm. Stock markets tanked over mounting anxieties tied to this mess in Trump's tariff talk, stroking recession fears. The last big shutdown in December of 2018 dragged on for 34 wonderful days, the longest ever under Trump's term. We can't afford a repeat, folks. So let's move on. GOP-led Congress races to avert government shutdown ahead of Friday deadline. Speaker Mike Johnson's playing a high-stakes game, eyeing a Tuesday vote to push the 6-month CR through the House on pure Republican steam. Now, this happened already. It's a dare. Not a deer. Oh, dear. It's a dare to Democrats. Oppose it and own the fallout. With 218 to 214 House majority, he can lose just one GOP vote if everyone's present. Massie's already out. He voted no, so the margin's tighter than a drum. Trump's twisting arms. It's huge. You better pass this bill. We don't need the government to shut down. Huge. Okay, Trump's twisting arms, making calls from his team to sway fence sitters. While Vance is ready to rally the troops at the GOP's weekly hustle. Representative Eric Burlison of Missouri, a Freedom Caucus hardliner, says he's closer to yes after Trump's assurances that it paves the way for future cuts. But Massie's digging in, blasting both sides on X, Twitter, He said, quote, unless I get a lobotomy, I'll be a no on the CR this week. It amazes that colleagues and many of the public fall for a lie that we will fight yet another day. That's his opinion, and it's a loud one. In the Senate, it's a 60-vote gauntlet, with Rand Paul of Kentucky vowing no over spending gripes. Republicans need Democrats to bulge, Democrats to budge. But Senate Dems are fuming. Cut out the talks. They're blasting the bill's military boost and domestic cuts. Senator Alessa Slotkin of Michigan hit a constitutional nerve on, quote, Meet the Press. She says, the president has been deciding how to spend the money any way he wants. That's a constitutional issue, right? Everyone knows Congress has the power of the purse. She's holding out. She's holding out for guarantees. Senator Mark Warner of Virginia didn't mince words. Quote, it's lawful. It's awful. Well, sorry, lawful. It's awful. It's awful. It's awful. Patty Murray of Washington, a top Democrat of the Appropriations Committee, warned it's a, quote, slush fund for the Trump to cherry pick priorities, potentially gutting fentanyl fights, NIH research, and Army Corps projects. Adam Schiff, he's still around, Shifty Schiff, of California called it a grab bag of Republican priorities, daring the GOP to take the shutdown rap. Jean Shaheen of New Hampshire wants the short-term fix instead. Even D.C.'s local budget faces a $1 billion hit. Cops, firefighters, and teachers could feel the squeeze. Now, Johnson's bullish. No one wants to shut the government down, and we are governing, doing the responsible things as Republicans. Trump's cheerleading on Truth Social, quote, the House and Senate have put together a very good funding bill, CR. All Republicans should vote yes, please. We have to remain united. No dissent. He told reporters a shutdown could happen, but probably won't. Now, opinion alert, that's wishful thinking unless the Senate bends. So moving on to legislative action. Congress scrambles again to pass a spending bill to temporarily fund the government. Here we go again, Congress scrambling like kids, cramming for a test they forgot was coming. Johnson unveiled the CR over the weekend, aiming to dodge a shutdown by holding spending steady through September 30th, 2025. While trimming Justice Department aid to state and local law enforcement, Newsweek reached out to Johnson for comment, but no word was back yet. This isn't new, because back in December, the House passed a CR hours after funding lapsed, thanks to a scaled-down version rushed through after Musk trashed an earlier draft. Republicans hold 281 to 214 House edge, but it's a squeaker, and Democrats aren't biting. Representative Victoria Spartz of Indiana, a past CR skeptic, told Reuters that she might back it. Quote, I don't believe Congress has time to do anything else. Fetterman's firm. He says, I'm never going to be a part of any vote that shuts the government down. Smart man. Trump's pushing hard, but House Majority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, with Whip Catherine Clark and Chair Pete Aguilar, fired back. Quote, the partisan House Republican funding bill recklessly cuts health care, nutritional assistance, and $23 billion in veterans' benefits. We are voting no. Johnson told Meet the Press it's a clean CR to freeze funding and weave and dodge savings. Opinion, folks, clean is generous. It is a GOP wish list with a bow on it. And people, we got to understand that both sides, no matter who's in power, is going to try to get as much information, much in their bill as possible. So it's not a lie. It's not crazy that the Democrats will say that's what the Republicans doing. The Republicans will try to get what they're doing. That's politics. But it is good that we have multiple sides. But at the end of the day, they got to get something passed. They have to make a compromise. Both people walk away from the table with something they like and something they don't like. That's how compromise works. But at the end of the day, the government's got to work. At the end of the day, where do we get the money? That's the other issue. And again, that kind of falls back to why are we giving other countries so much money when we're having to worry about the shutdown of our government like every single month now? Rinse due every couple of months. A shutdown, essential workers like FBI, TSA, Border Patrol, military keep going unpaid until it's over and then get back pay. The Postal Service, self-funded, rolls on. But millions of federal workers, park goers, benefit applicants feel the pinch. The Constitution demands Congress fund this republic, not kick the can down the road. So here's an overall analysis, folks. This is a constitutional showdown. It's plain and simple. Article 1 gives Congress the power of the purse, not Trump, not Musk, not Doge. Yet here we are with a bill that, in my view, teeters on ceding that sacred duty to the executive office. The $13 billion in domestic cuts, vague, could hit drug programs. They could hit health research or rural broadband, as Murray warns. The $6 billion defense boost, fine by me. Our troops deserve it, but why not spell out the trade-offs? Freezing $20 billion from IRS aligns with Trump's lean government vibe, but it risks hobbling tax enforcement, which funds the whole show. Veterans care staying intact is a win. Those heroes earned it. But Democrats claim $23 billion is missing from toxic exposure funds, like Agent Orange. Fact check needed here. The bill's murky on specifics. Trump's fingerprints are all over this, lobbying, threatening primaries, tying it to tariffs and Doge. Musk's Doge push is a wild card, smart to trim fat, but unilateral cuts without Congress scream overreach. Democrats gripe about chaos and uncertainty. A hat tip to Representative Jared Golden on X. Ring true if this CR becomes a blank check. Jeffries calling Trump cuts illegal is a stretch, disagreeable, sure, but the Constitution's fuzzy on execution once funds are allocated. Still, their no vote signals a filibuster brewing. Republicans banking on Fetterman and co. to cave might be dreaming. Senate Dems smell blood in the water. The fallout, a shutdown's no picnic. Furloughs, park closures, market jitters. Reuters pegged the 2018 shutdown cost at billions, which could be worse with tariffs in play. And here's an opinion: the GOP's playing with fire, holding all three branches yet risking the blame if this flops. Johnson's betting on unity, but Massie's defiance and Paul's no-show cracks in the armor. Trump's no dissent plea is a tall order and a party of freethinkers. And we'll give you our hashtag GoRight recap remix. I know that analysis seems like one, but here's a remix, Patriots. Our constitutional republic's on the ropes. Shutdown looms if our Senate doesn't greenlight the CR by Friday's witching hour. Johnson and Trump are swinging on the fence with a bill that cuts, boosts, and freezes, but Democrats are dug in with the clock's merciless. Liberties at stake. Will Congress uphold its duty, or will we submit into chaos? This is hashtag GoRight with Peter Boykin, where we fight for the Republic, not just watch it burn. For more, hit up GoRightNews.com, your hub for unfiltered truth. Catch us on Rumble.com, at GoRightNews.com. Hunt us down on hashtag GoRight with Peter Boykin on Spreaker, Spotify. I need to update the Spreaker. Spotify, Apple, Amazon, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, X, Twitter, and beyond. Want to fuel this fight? Drop a buck or two at Cash App at the $ Peter Boykin #1. Links are live at GoRightNews.com. I think you can pay for the website too. And PeterBoykin.com. Let's keep liberty proud. See you on the front lines. Of course, all these quoted material is preserved as the original articles. Opinion-based expansions are flagged as such, and grammar for sources are intact unless currently off, not spotted here. This reflects current knowledge up to March 12th at 7:41 a.m. So again, more data has probably changed because it is a very fluid story, a very fluid article, and I am not Fox News. I am not Newsweek. I am just a dude trying to do a podcast, and I try to give you stuff that won't take all day, but get you some education. So even if the things have changed, hopefully you've learned a little bit about the process of what it takes to try to keep our government going, and that the people in Washington are trying, and both sides are doing what they normally do. It's all politics, but hopefully at the end of the day, the government will stay open, and we got to move it on. Again, folks, I want to remind you that hashtag GoRight is more than politics. It's a way of life. Hashtag GoRight isn't about politics. It's about doing what's right in every aspect of life. It's about making choices that uplift, strengthen, and unite our communities. It means doing right, standing for truth, integrity, and accountability, thinking right, using logic, common sense, and fairness in decision-making, being right, living with honor, respect, and responsibility, voting right, electing leaders who put we the people first. Hashtag GoRight is a direction. It's a call of action for who we believe for all who believe, in building, not destroying. It's about working toward a better future together. We can't make MAGA without working for it. God bless everybody. Thank you for tuning in to hashtag Go Right with Peter Boykin. And please share this to all of your friends and family and everybody else. Hi folks, this is Peter Boykin from hashtag Go Right. Let me break some things down. The future is up to you, and what are you willing to put into it? So will you hashtag Go Right for America? Will you participate in the great American revival? Because together we can and will make America great again. But it's up to you. It is up to you. It's time to join the Go Right movement. It is time to hashtag Go Right for America. Join us at GoRightNews.com. It is time for the great American revival, and it is time to hashtag Go Right for America.